DaCara Thompson's parents just want her home.
It's been hard. It's been hard.
Baby, let me tell you something, because this case right here has me shook to my core. Every single day, more gruesome and disturbing details about what happened to DaCara Thompson are coming out, and honestly, it's giving nightmare vibes. Like, who even thinks of doing something this dark? It's pure madness, and I can't stop thinking about it.
Investigation, it appears that the car willfully entered a vehicle being driven by Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez, 35-year-old male.
Now here's the thing. The suspect, Hugo Hernandez Mendez, yeah, remember that name, might never give us the whole truth. And you know what? That's exactly what makes this so frustrating. How in the world did he convince Dara to step into his vehicle that night? Think about it. Sis had left her purse in her own car, which was parked illegally in a no parking zone. That means she wasn't planning to be gone long at all. In fact, she told her dad she'd be back soon. So why on earth did she get into his car? What was he saying? What was he promising? Because clearly, something doesn't add up.
Came to the scene, we did discover that all of her personal belongings were in her car, such as her purse, her credit card, her debit cards. She even had $60.
And wait, here's where my brain just stops. Why in the world would this man bring a random girl into his home? The same house where his whole family lives, kids included. Who does that? Like, hello? If you're up to something shady, the last place you'd pick is your own house. Usually people like that use hotels or motels because they don't want things traced back to them. But Hugo? He was so bold he brought Dara straight into his home. Make it make sense, y'all, because it doesn't. And then when you hear that allegedly police found other women's underwear in Hugo's bedroom, you're just like, hold on. Are we looking at a serial predator here? Are there more victims? Did Dara even know this man before that night, or was she just another target? And don't even get me started on the family. What are they hiding? Because, child, there's no way everyone in that house didn't notice something. And of course, social media's been buzzing. People pointing out how BLM hasn't really picked up Dara's case because, let's be real, she wasn't harmed by a white person. The narrative doesn't fit. It's disgusting. And then on top of that, others are out here spreading theories that Dara was selling herself. Like, excuse me? Can we not disrespect a victim like this? The whole thing just makes me sick. Let me take you back. Dara's father reported her missing just before 9 p.m. on August 23rd. He told police the last time he'd seen her was the night before, on August 22nd. He called her when she didn't come home, but she never answered. She had even texted him that night, saying she was just going to get gas and would be right back. But after that, silence. Nothing. When Dara didn't show up the next day, her family got desperate. They tracked her phone to the intersection of Jasmine Terrace and Riggs Road in Hyattsville, and there they saw her car, just sitting there. They immediately called police. Remember, Dara was the youngest of 5, and this family was close. They all had each other's locations through the Find My iPhone app, and when they checked, they realized Dara's phone had been turned off. The last ping was right there, Jasmine Terrace and Riggs Road. At that point, the family was still clinging to hope, but their fear grew because her bank account was untouched. No money moved, no signs of life, just nothing. And then, tragedy. On August 31st, around 4:50 p.m., Maryland State Police responded to a disabled car on Route 50. Right there on the South River Bridge in Annapolis, troopers looked down and saw something horrifying, a body 30 feet below on the riverbank. Days later, on September 3rd, detectives met with Dara's family. They had to identify her body. Her face was broken, her skull fractured. Her family had to confirm it was her through her tattoos and jewelry. Can you imagine the pain of seeing your baby like that? It's unbearable. But it gets even darker. Surveillance footage from August 23rd at 3:06 a.m. showed Dara leaving her white SUV and walking down Riggs Road toward University Boulevard. And what do we see next? Dara approaches a black GMC Yukon Denali, speaks briefly to the driver, and then she gets into the front passenger seat. And guess what? That car belonged to none other than Hugo Hernandez Mendez. Here's the creepy part. Dara left her purse behind in her SUV, parked in front of a fire hydrant. Who does that at 3 a.m.? Was she planning to hop right back out? Was she rushing? Or was she kidnapped? Or maybe she knew Hugo and felt safe enough. And what about her phone? Did she shut off her location tracker herself, or did someone else do it? So many unanswered questions, and each one feels more suspicious than the last. On September 3rd, detectives rolled up to Hugo's house, and guess what was parked right outside? The same black GMC Yukon. They got a search warrant, and by the early hours of September 4th, they were ready. Before they could even serve it, Hugo himself walks out of the house and hops into the SUV like nothing happened. Police swooped in, and that's when the interrogation began. He claimed he was at the Galaxy nightclub that night, across from where Dara was last seen getting into his SUV. Said he was supposed to meet his ex-girlfriend, but never did. But when they pressed harder, Hugo shut it down, denied everything, and lawyered up. Of course he did, but police weren't fooled. When they searched the house, what they found was horrifying. Dara's blood, a missing acrylic nail, hair, a wig, other personal items. And then, the most disturbing of all. Multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie. Trophies. This wasn't random. This man had a pattern. Soon after, Hugo was arrested and charged with first and second-degree unaliving of DaCara Thompson. ICE even stepped in, calling him a criminal illegal alien and placing a detainer on him. Investigators believe he killed Dara inside his bedroom early that morning, then drove her body to Route 50 and threw her off the bridge like she was trash. The thought alone makes me sick. Now think about this. People were in that house when this happened. They were questioned, and their stories? Messy. One cousin admitted she noticed Hugo acting strange weeks before. She even told him he should confess. Then her own husband was suddenly arrested by immigration agents even though he claimed he had nothing to do with it. Other roommates said they heard Hugo and Dara in the bedroom that night, followed by unsettling grunting noises like someone was in distress. Then hours later, the SUV was gone. Yet others claim they didn't hear or see anything. Oh, really? Sounds like this family knows more than they're letting on. And here's the kicker. This wasn't Hugo's first time being reckless. His record is messy. DUIs, driving with an open bottle, unsafe lane changes, ignoring traffic lights, you name it. The man was a walking red flag. And yet, he was still roaming free. And now Dara's gone. Now listen, the rabbit hole only goes deeper. Detectives are still trying to piece together if Dara and Hugo actually knew each other before this nightmare. Because, seriously, why would she leave her SUV parked like that, purse inside, in front of a fire hydrant, like she was only stepping away for 2 minutes? Was Hugo telling her, "Don't worry, I'll bring you right back"? Was he tricking her, or did he make her feel like it was safe? We may never know, but one thing's for sure. Something about that night doesn't sit right. Was Dara kidnapped? Did Hugo snatch her, or did she willingly meet up with him? If she turned off her location tracking herself, why would she do that? And if she didn't, then who did? And what about those family members in that house? Are they really being honest with investigators, or are they covering for him? These are the questions that keep me up at night, and I know I'm not the only one. And child, let's not ignore this. People in the community are whispering about Hugo possibly being tied to other disappearances. Yeah, you heard me right. Men and women from the area who've gone missing, including a father who turned up dead just 2 days after Dara was found. Coincidence? Or is Hugo's creepy stash of women's lingerie and underwear proof that he's been collecting souvenirs from other victims? The whole thing is chilling, and honestly, it gives me serial vibes. Think about it. This man already had a criminal history. Multiple DUIs, driving on a suspended license, reckless driving, ignoring traffic lights, unsafe lane changes, you name it. Basically treating the roads like a video game while putting lives in danger. And despite all this, he was still out here roaming free. How was he even allowed to keep moving around like this when he wasn't supposed to be here legally in the first place? That's the question people are screaming about. And honestly, I can't blame them. Back to that night. Remember, Hugo's family members gave statements. One cousin said she barely saw him in the 2 weeks before Dara's disappearance and noticed a change in his behavior. She even admitted she told him to confess, but when investigators started digging deeper, things got shady. Immigration agents came back and took her husband into custody, and now she's insisting he had nothing to do with it. Was that just bad timing, or are there deeper family ties to what happened that night? Another roommate claimed they heard Dara and Hugo in the bedroom, but what really stuck with them was the grunting noise. Not passion, not joy, but something that made them believe someone wasn't enjoying themselves. That detail is so haunting. Hours later, they noticed the SUV was gone, and Hugo didn't even have work that day. Suspicious much. Then 2 other witnesses in the house claimed they didn't hear or see anything because they lived on the opposite side of the house. But come on, how much can we believe that? A whole situation goes down under the same roof and nobody hears anything? I don't know, y'all. Either these people are lying to protect Hugo, or they're scared. Or maybe they're just pretending ignorance because it's easier. But whatever the reason, their silence is deafening. And then, let's circle back to the discovery. Investigators say Hugo killed Dara in that bedroom on the morning of August 23rd, then loaded her body into his SUV, drove down Route 50, and threw her over the bridge like she was disposable. That detail alone makes my blood boil. The level of coldness, just casually tossing away a human life like trash. No heart, no remorse, nothing. And here's what gets me. Hugo wasn't some stranger hiding in the shadows. He lived in a house full of people. People who saw him, who interacted with him, who noticed his behavior changing. Yet Dara ended up in his clutches, and now she's gone. That kind of betrayal of basic human decency? Unforgivable. This case has sparked bigger conversations. People are furious that someone with Hugo's criminal record and immigration issues was still free to commit such a crime. Others are outraged that Dara's story hasn't received the national spotlight it deserves. And then there are the cruel whispers online trying to drag her name through the mud. Victim blaming has to stop. Dara was just 19 with her whole future ahead of her. That's why this case feels so personal. It's not only about Hugo's monstrous actions, but about a system that failed her, a house full of people who may not be telling the truth, and the chilling thought that she may not have been his first victim. At the end of the day, Dara deserves justice. Her story must be told as the tragedy it is, not twisted or disrespected. And until every unanswered question is resolved, this case will continue to haunt us. Hugo may be behind bars, but the scars of what he did remain, and the world needs to wake up to the monsters hiding in plain sight.